Hello and welcome to another edition of Dartmouth's Got Talent. I'm Dr. Bonnie Gifford, Superintendent of the Dartmouth Public Schools, and as I've told you before, we have this show as a way to bring you information about all the wonderful things that are happening in our schools. Today I have Mr. Richard Blair with me. He is the Step Up Program Director at our own middle school, and he's here to tell us all about some really exciting things that are happening at the middle school and across the district. So welcome and thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, awesome. Before we get started about specifics about the program that we're going to talk about, I'd like you to tell our folks about you as far as how long you've been in Dartmouth, what your career's been like here, and just give them an idea of what's going on with you.
Well, I actually started out approximately 14 years ago as a substitute teacher.
Oh.
I'd moved up from South Carolina, and I started substitute teaching, and I subbed in Dartmouth, and I liked it so much I did everything I could to become a permanent teacher.
Wow.
So several years later, I started my job as a Step Up Program Director, and I've been with it 10 years now.
Nice. What did you do before?
Well, I was actually a high school teacher, a high school drama teacher in South Carolina. Previous to that, you and I have talked a little bit in the past about I worked as an entertainer on board a cruise ship for quite a few years, and I lived the life of an actor in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that sounds so much fun. Sounds like a lot of fun. But I bet that that past helps you bring a lot of creativity into your work with kids, I imagine.
You know, I hope so. I hope my experiences have brought me to where I am, but it's also made me appreciate who I get to work with, and
Sure, absolutely. So you're the Step Up Program Director. Let's tell folks what that means.
I guess the best way to describe the Step Up program, it's a proactive program. It helps, it works with kids, helps them make good choices while they're in school, which tends to coincide with what we're going to be talking about today, which is our PBIS program. Again, this will be my 10th year working with that program.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that about, helping kids make good choices because, and I know we'll get into this a little bit, not only with the middle school, but the district is really looking at ways to promote and support students as well as our adults, in our stressful environment that we all live and work in. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But anyway, since I've come on board, walking around the middle school and all of our schools, but in particularly the middle school, I see this RARE acronym, R-A-R-E, and so I want to ask you to help, tell our audience about what's the significance of RARE, how did it start, and how does it relate to your work and then the work of the entire school? That's a big question.
That is a big question, so I'll try not to make it too long. Approximately 25 years ago, when the middle school was still located on Hawthorne, from what I was told, the faculty and staff got together and they really wanted to work with the kids on social aspects of their life and things like how to be polite, how to treat each other, how to be good citizens. So they came up with this acronym, which is RARE, and it stands for Responsibility, Accountability, Respectability, and Esteem. Within the last 10 years since I've been there, our current principal, Mr. Doan, who actually happened to be the assistant principal, felt he really wanted to move forward with this. And we've told the story before. It's funny, in the very beginning, kids were afraid to talk about their success. They felt like they were the only ones that did it, and they felt it would make them look, strange or stand out. So what he wanted to do was to point out how successful all of our students are.
Good point.
So using RARE, we started events where they got to see each other and celebrate success.
Right. I think that's really a good point to make, that kids don't want to talk about, I guess we don't all want to talk about ourselves sometimes, and to be able to provide them with a venue through which they can do that and do that comfortably and be celebrated for it is something real positive. So as far as RARE goes, I think it ties in with PBIS, and we're flooding our audience with these acronyms. So let's talk about PBIS, and then we'll talk about maybe some specifics with each and the kind of activities that go along with what's happening. So PBIS.
Okay, PBIS is actually, that has also been around for a while. We basically adopted it about 5 years ago. It's an initiative that our district decided they wanted to go with. It's a positive behavior intervention system or
Right.
strategies, whichever
Right.
you care to use. What's been awesome is we were not, and this isn't bragging, we were a little ahead of the
You can
game in the
brag.
sense that we understood what they were looking for within the middle school. We'd already been doing it for a while. But what was great was this brought the district together, the elementary schools and the high schools, and we're all talking about it.
Right.
So we get to hear what's going on successfully at the elementary schools, and we steal from each other when we share stories and we talk about events and things like this. And our big push, and actually in the middle school too, we've been pushing really hard, is to get the parents involved too.
Okay.
So we really want the PBIS to be something that includes the community. And each year, all of us, come up with a goal on what
Right.
we want to do within our schools and within our district.
Okay.
So-
And it's really great to hear, having come on board myself about 5 months ago now, one of the, as you recall, one of the important philosophies, if you will, or whatever, I was really involved in and wanted to push the social emotional learning, as we're now talking about that in our district, as really important stuff that we attend to people's, and when I say people, I mean, again, our whole school community, our kids, our adults, et cetera. Really making them feel comfortable and confident and welcome and have those strong relationships in our schools. So this just dovetailed right into that work completely. Absolutely.
And one of the things I think we've found that really works is through this, we show how valued our students are and our staff is.
Right.
It's kind of a nice little, pat on the back to all of them, which we all need.
Right. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. We know how life can be so stressful.
Yes.
So I want to ask you before we get into some of these other questions. I attended, let's think now, there was pizza. It was at the middle school. There was pizza,
There was food,
and
that
there
always
was a minute to win it game.
Yes.
So this was an activity. It was you talked about parents and help. Was that
Right.
part of
That's
the
part
rare
of PBIS.
PBIS?
We got it from those meetings. We were trying to figure out a way. One of our next goals, which was 2 years ago, was to try to bring the families in
Okay.
to get them involved. So we came up with a family night.
That's right.
And one of my fellow colleagues said, if you feed them, they will come.
That's true.
And it worked.
Yes.
And I think our size grew this year. It was our second one. We had more people show up. We always like to include a little bit of education
Right.
without people knowing it. So what we'll do is, for example, we will meet in the auditorium and there'll be a discussion. For example, we've talked a lot about social media
Right.
and how to control it and take care of our kids. And again, we ended with a big minute to win it where the families got to participate and win prizes.
Right,
So it was a fun evening.
Right, right. It was. I stayed for almost all of it. Saw the little PowerPoint that you kind of told the parents about what was going on in the schools. It was a nice video. Well, it wasn't pictures of the kids over the last year and the students. So that was really nice. And again, I think that celebrates kids so well.
Yes.
Makes them, this is our home, this is our school. It really was a fun night. And I couldn't believe how many folks were there.
It was
Yeah,
great.
it was really, really
a
good.
Thursday night when most people are exhausted, but we figured if we fed them, they wouldn't have to worry
Yeah,
about dinner.
yeah.
So we want to make that
No,
an
you
annual.
have to.
We
You
want to make
have
that an annual
Yeah,
event.
good.
So,
That's terrific. So, how do you think that, and let me go back one more minute again. I attended the PBIS district team meeting, as you know, this year, and I have to say I was so thrilled to hear about the different activities that are happening in all of the different schools. You just kind of talked about that, and how all of our schools are supporting that social, emotional, positive behaviors and interactions. So I noticed that you had a lot to say about the middle school, so that's why I invited you today. I just had to say that, but anyway.
I have a feeling other people would say that too.
Yeah.
He has a lot to say.
Well, you had a lot
He
to
has
say about it, because obviously you're very passionate about it, and it comes through.
It has been great, and I think what we're seeing now is, now that we've really gotten 5 years into it, we are seeing the benefits. And we have, when an elementary school student comes to the middle school, they've got the idea. They know
Right.
what we're doing.
Right.
And we're doing the same thing when we pass our students on to the high school.
Right.
And everybody, one of the terms they use in PBIS is a universal language.
Okay, yeah.
So nobody's ever confused about what's going on, and everybody's quote unquote on the same page.
Right.
And that really is working to our advantage now. I think we're seeing it.
Yeah.
So-
So you're seeing this as a benefit for the whole district.
For the entire district. It's
Yeah.
great to see that.
Right,
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Could you give folks an idea on when it rolls out in a school, when the program or it's really a way of life. a way of behaving. It's a way of treating each other with respect and et cetera in school.
Yes, ma'am.
How does that roll out? How do we all of a sudden say, here, we're a PBIS district or a PBIS school, or maybe a couple of activities that you remember from 5 years ago?
Well, that's a very good question, because, you know, teachers are extremely busy,
Right.
staff is extremely busy, students are studying and working. So my suggestion would be, and we've actually talked to other schools who are trying to implement, is to start it off slowly, by a few initiatives.
Yeah.
And also by including the students, and many times we like the students to run it because then they own it.
Yes.
Then they convince everybody else how important it is. For example, as simple as within the middle school, we have these coupons, which we actually were using before
Okay.
PBIS rolled in, but we have one called Caught in the Act.
Okay.
And basically, Caught in the Act is when you do something for somebody out of kindness, you help somebody out, and teachers and staff have access to these. And if they see a student, they can give them a Caught in the Act. And with those Caught in the Acts, they're eligible for a raffle, but it's an acknowledgement.
Right.
We also have best effort coupons
Okay.
too, which is very simple. And if you have a student who's worked extremely hard on a project and you can tell they put everything into it, you're just kind of saying, hey, I recognize that.
Right.
And it really, it's been very, very successful for our school.
Yeah.
So we started off small, and we get a little bigger each year.
Right.
And fortunately, our faculty is fantastic,
Yes.
because they're always like, I wonder sometimes if they go, okay, Mr. Blair, what do you have for us now? But they're always game.
Right.
They're always game.
That's good. That's good.
So-
You need that. You need that
Yes,
buy-in.
you need that
for
backup.
Sure.
You do.
I've been at the elementary schools as well, and they do similar, obviously, activities. And I believe it was over at Cushman, where they were the Cushman crayons. And I went to an assembly.
I saw
Yes,
the
you saw the
pictures.
yes.
Yes.
Aren't they cute? And I went to an assembly where they were talking, same kind of thing, where kids were being acknowledged for whatever it might be, saying a nice, kind word to a friend or something. And what I really, really like about this whole approach is it's not about the end result. It's not about the outcome it's about trying something. It's about being part of the process. It's about making your best effort. Things we want to see people, you know, the kind of characteristics we want to build up in our students, being part of the process. And
Well, and I think everybody gets caught up in it, and I'm not sure if I'm mistaken or not, but even in the hallways now, people are friendlier to each other.
Okay.
People, we all kind of work together. That includes the kids too.
Right.
You know, they're willing to speak to each other.
Right.
They look out. You see, you know, I've seen an 8th grader reach down to pick up books for a little 6th grader who dropped them without even thinking twice. And I know that may sound like a minor thing, but it really isn't.
Right.
That's what we like within our culture.
yeah.
So-
Well, you know, we have always worked so hard against the anti-bullying, et cetera, and this all fits in.
Absolutely.
The elementaries will have the responsive classroom and peace builders, different titles of different initiatives, but really, it's just that kind approach of being a community.
Right.
Really
right.
teaching about behaviors to be a community. So could you give us some examples, and I know you've been already touching upon them, how you have incorporated PBIS or RARE into the middle school culture, something else?
Let me see. We have, we're always evolving, and our kids, a lot of times we'll have an event, and afterwards we sit down with the kids and say, what did you think?
Okay.
For example, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
we have, this is second or third time we've done this, but it's called Dartmouth Strong Day.
Okay.
And we set aside everything to concentrate on Dartmouth, the community, and the school. For example, our kids this year, they're having a contest, and their homerooms are writing raps about school bus safety. And they will compete against each other,
Okay.
and then everybody votes. We also have our RARE reps. Our reps in our school are extremely valuable. They're amazing, but they will be going into each homeroom, including 6th and 7th grade, and talking about school bus safety
Okay.
and leading conversations and doing a PowerPoint. And then, of course, we have to have some type of contest, but we end up at the
Always.
gymnasium. We switch around with the grades, but we have what we call Dartmouth Jeopardy.
Okay.
And we ask crazy questions about the school, about the history, and then they'll do tasks where they'll throw hoops, and we always end up with some like certificate or
Yes,
award
of
at
course.
the end. But it's a great way, and we all wear green, and it's a great day because it's so short. But I think we get,
Yeah.
you know, it's a great way to start off the holiday.
Yeah, and it's celebrating community.
Yes.
celebrating community, which is great.
Which is perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I think we have a clip of some of the activities that are going on at the school.
Yes,
I believe
and-
you brought something
And this
for
clip
us.
is actually a compilation of last year.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the different activities we did, and including we have what's Pink Day for
Okay.
Cancer Awareness Day,
Okay.
our Dartmouth Strong, our family night.
Yeah.
You'll see pictures of our rare fair we do at the end of the year, and all of the different students that
Okay.
get to be a part of this.
All right, nice. Let's
So,
take a look at that.
all right.
Okay. All right, that was terrific. I really hope the folks have a good sense now of what's going on at the middle school as well as our district.
Well,
It's
as
great.
our principal says, whenever we need a little boost, he plays that because we like the song and the
Sure,
message, and we
sure.
love looking at the videos because we see students who are now in high school. And we're like, oh, I miss them. Oh, where are you? know, what are they
Right,
doing?
right.
What are
But
they
those
up
are the
to?
connections that it's for. I mean,
That's
it's
cool.
terrific.
Yes.
So what's up and coming as far as rare events? And I know you brought us a poster board if you wanted to take a peek.
I brought a prop in.
All
This
right.
This is my
a
show and
prop.
tell.
Well, that's your theater background.
That's my theater background.
That's yeah. So
This
what do we
is,
got here?
This Thursday and Friday, there is a state conference up in
Okay.
Norwood, and many of us from our PBS coaches are getting to go there. I was lucky enough to go last year, but there are a series of workshops from absolutely incredible presenters who
Okay.
give us more ideas.
I see.
And they had asked if, we would consider submitting a poster of some kind showing what we do at our
Okay,
schools.
okay.
So we of course had to put something together. And as I mentioned to you earlier when I showed this, it's kind of nice because once you put it all together, you're like, okay, you guys are keeping busy. You're keeping busy with the PBIS.
Right.
So this is what'll be exhibited representing Dartmouth Middle School at the conference.
All right. And so how many of our folks are going? Or is a little team from the school?
Easily 15, if I'm not mistaken.
Unbelievable.
Yes, ma'am.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
So will our team be speaking, or is it more of like a booth type venue? What's it like?
What happens is you go there in the morning, and they usually have a national PBIS speaker because this initiative is across the state.
Right.
Last year we had an awesome speaker who talked about bringing community and merchants into the districts, into the schools. Then they give you a venue where you actually are the student and you choose the workshops you want to go to. And we all tend to spread out so we can get as much of it as we possibly can.
Right.
Then at the end of the day on Thursday, I think we go into an exhibit hall where we put these up and everybody gets to walk around and see what other schools are doing.
Right.
And then again, we are back Friday again for another half day of workshops. So they've actually extended it. I'm excited.
Yeah,
it was
growing.
excellent last year.
I'm glad because again, and I'll go right back to that social emotional as we see the thrust, I would say across the country really to really address the stress, the issues, the anxiety, and I just think that this, I'll use the same words, dovetails so nicely, so I can imagine why it's growing and more people are attending, becoming bigger and bigger.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. So you must be looking forward to that.
I am. I'm looking forward to it. Again, what we can bring back always is fantastic.
Right.
So.
And I'm looking forward to attending the rest of the district's, the PBIS teams meetings, hoping I can get to all of them. I don't know. The schedule gets crazy, but again, to hear about how this is proceeding across our district and really making it known to the folks at home that this is such an important, let's say, way of life. It's not it's a philosophy.
Well, it's interesting because you always hope that, especially with the students, that when they go home, they share, events that have taken place and certain things. So sometimes when parents come in, they know exactly, if we say the word rare, they may have actually gone through it themselves, but they shake their head going, okay, we know what you're talking about now.
Absolutely right. So what's next for the middle school?
Well, this is a very shallow advertisement, but I run the after-school drama program.
Okay, yeah.
And this is a program we've been trying to get to grow for the last couple of years, and we have outstanding students. So this spring, we're actually doing the school version of Grease in April.
I love it.
So as soon as the holidays are over, we're going to be getting together and putting that production together. So I'm extremely excited. Our kids are fantastic.
Right. Oh, I can't wait. The music is so
very
wonderful.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
So,
and this fits in to the whole culture of the school.
One of the things and again, I brag about the middle school a great deal, but our faculty, especially our administration, tries to find every possible way they can include every student and find interest for them so they can feel like they're part of us.
Right, that's an important piece. That's
extremely important. I feel very lucky to be a part of it.
Awesome, awesome.
So.
Well, I'm feeling very lucky to be a part of everything as well. So
we're glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you very much for coming in today. I'm sure our folks at home will love seeing especially that clip with all of our kids doing whatever they do best, right? Yes. And but really, we're very happy that we are moving forward with this. I keep calling it a philosophy because it is. It's not about a program or initiative. So, again, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Thanks, folks, for watching us again today. And again, this was Richard Blair, our Step Up Program Director over at the middle school, sharing information about the RARE program and PBIS across the district. Hope you enjoyed it.